officials. It is now 9:45. I don't see the department yet, so we will give them another few minutes to enter the platform.
Morning, Chairperson Shireen here. The department is online, the HOD boardroom. That's where our departmental officials are sitting.
Okay, oh, all right. No, thanks very much, honorable members. We are here to consider vote 11, and which is agriculture in schedule to the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2025. We are also going to consider and adopt the draft committee report on vote 11, which is agriculture, as I have stated, and we'll do resolution. So, and obviously we have got minutes that we would like to consider if we still have time. So before we start with the deliberation, I would like to introduce the members. I will call the members by name. Just you can just indicate your presence in order that we don't really waste time. I note Honorable Constable.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Present, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Dave Bryant. Dave, are you available? Are you present? Okay, I pass Honorable Bryant. Honorable Brenges.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning to you and good morning to all the colleagues, Chair.
Yeah.
And Khalil Brenges here. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you.
Hasn't come through. Sorry, Chairperson, is my mic not working?
Yeah, I think your bandwidth is a bit of a problem, but we can hear you. Thank you. Honorable Mbombo.
Okay.
Honorable Mbombo, just indicate present. Okay, I pass. Honorable Ngondlo.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, colleagues. Yes, I'm present in the meeting.
Honorable Leon van Wyk.
Good morning, Chair. I'm present.
Thank you
I'm
very
an
much.
alternate member.
Thank you very much. With me is Shireen Nicker from procedural side, and we have got the IT support as well. Shireen, are there any apologies that we need to acknowledge?
I have not received any apologies, Chair. Just to note that Member Vessels is also on the platform.
Member Vessels, sorry if I forgotten you. Apologies.
I just wanted to raise my hand if I'm the forgotten son, but thank you very much.
You're not forgotten, yeah. Honorable members, I am now going to also hand over to Minister, Minister Mayor, over to you and your officials to do the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Chair and members of the committee. Thank you very much and good morning to everybody. Chair, I am present with me in this meeting with my head of my office, Marieke van Jaarsveld, as well as the head of my communication and media liaison officer, Mr. Daniel Johnson, just for the record.
Minister, we seem to have lost you. Minister, we've lost you.
Okay, you have not lost me.
There's some background noise. Can we IT assist in terms of muting LT? Thank you. Minister, you can go ahead. Apologies for that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I just mentioned that I'm here with the head of my office and the media liaison officer, just for the record. So if you want to go to my department, they are happy to introduce themselves where they are in the boardroom at Elsenburg. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Over to you, HOD and your department. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairperson and all the honourable members. I'm Lindy Govender. I'm acting HOD at the moment. I just would like to note an apology from Dr. Sibopetsa, who is on leave, as well as Mr. Daryl Jacobs. He's travelling, as well as Dr. Magadla, who is also travelling today. I have a number of officials with me in the boardroom. If you will allow me, I can quickly mention them just for the record. So with me is Mr. Marnus Jacobs. He's the acting CFO at the moment. I also have Ms. Bongi Matoti, who's the acting DDG for Agricultural Research and Regulatory Services. Ms. Asha Peterson, Director of Sustainable Resource Use and Management. Mr. Michael Brinkhuis, who is the Chief Director of Agricultural Producer Support and Development. I've got Mr. Jerry Aris, who is also a Director in Agricultural Producer Support and Development. I've got Dr. Felicity Fries, who is the Chief Director of Regulatory and Research Technology Development Services. I've got Mr. Tsepo Morokong, who is the Director of Agricultural Economic Services. Also Ms. Jackie Panram, who is the Chief Director of Rural Development, and Mr. Granville Stander, who is the Chief Director of our Agricultural Education and Training. And then also a new member of our team, Ms. Stephanie Thomas, who is the Director of Business Planning and Strategy, who's joining us today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, CFO.
Oh, sorry, Chairperson, I missed a member who just pointed out, I missed him, Mr. Paul Rockman. He's also here, our Chief Director, Operational Support Services.
How can you miss Mr. Rockman? Yeah.
All of all people.
Over to you to give us the presentation for Board 11. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. We will...
Thank you.
Sorry,
thank you, Chair. Yes, as you have heard, I want to just inform the committee that the HOD, Mr. Dr. Sibopetsa, had an operation, so he is recovering from a shoulder operation, and that's why our CFO is the acting head of the department, and she will lead us into this presentation, except to note that when I went to Parliament in March and to this committee, I tabled a budget of just more than 1 billion rand. And what we are doing today before this committee is to adjust the budget to 1.3 million, and that is about 28% of the budget. And the HOD will now certainly comment on the reasons for these adjustments. So as the Minister of Finance has indicated yesterday, she tabled both the medium-term budget policy statements as well as the budget estimates for the adjustments. So, and I'm very happy that the HOD will now proceed with the adjustments. Thank you very much. Over to the acting HOD, Lindy Govender.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson and Minister. I will then go straight into the presentation. Thank you also for allowing us the opportunity to share with you our adjustments budget for 2025-26. In terms of the presentation, we will cover a few items. Firstly, we will look at additional funding that was specifically allocated in this adjustments. We will also look at the various shifts and reprioritizations across the programs and within programs, as well as then just give you a snapshot at the end of the changes per program and economic classification. In terms of the summary, just in very brief, this is just a highlight of the actual change in our budget. As Minister has mentioned, our main budget starting off at just over 1 billion, and it's moved up to 1.3 billion, which is a 282 million in value, or 28%. And just to mention, of that 282 million, an amount of 270.5 million was specifically the national grant rollover. So if you exclude that, it would be a very small increase of about 11 million that our budget has increased by in the adjustments. If we can then quickly take you through the additional funding, in terms of the revenue sources, we've received approval for rollovers to the value of 273.3 million. Of that, the national rollovers or the national grants that we've asked for rollover amounted to 270.499 million. You will recall we received the 300 million cost grant for disaster recovery in terms of flooding on the 26 March 2025. 5. And you will recall in our last engagements, we shared that we could not spend that amount of money in that short space of time. So we then, with the assistance of our treasury, asked for an expedited rollover of the unspent amount, which was then approved, and that was then added to our budget now in the adjustments, and specifically allocated to Program 2, Sustainable Resource Use and Management. And I can report that that funding has been transferred as planned as we are sitting here today. Then a small amount of 1.149 million was allocated as an approved rollover for Program 7. This related to some maintenance and upgrades that's happening on the agronomy section of the college, as well as some equipment that had to be purchased and training that was in progress. We had to roll over funding for 25-26 implementation. In terms of provincial funding, we requested a 2.8 million rollover, which was approved, and that was specifically towards a project for the supply, installation, and commissioning of a mobile signal amplification system. Our signal strength at Elsenburg is very poor, and it is a project that we've set aside funding towards. That is actually currently being implemented. So at the end of the year, there was a commitment in terms of a tender award, so we could roll that over. In terms of revenue retention, this is really related to over-collection of revenue that we've recorded in 24-25. Then we've asked for some approvals there to assist us with cost pressures in this financial year. And a total amount of 5.9 million was approved for us for revenue retention. How we allocated that is towards Program 4, Veterinary Services, 3.2 million. And you can see 1.4 of that went towards disease control, specifically to enhance monitoring and surveillance systems. And 1.8 million we set aside towards a baseline assessment on animal biosecurity systems and structures, which really feeds into an upcoming RIA, where, as you know, we will go into the space of legislation in terms of veterinary services. And this is a baseline assessment that we need to do to start that process. Then also a 2.7 million has been allocated to Program 5, and this is towards cost pressures on our 7 research farms, mainly towards feed and fodder for our herds and flocks. In terms of our own revenue estimates, we have increased our in-year own revenue by an amount of 3 million rand, and that has been allocated to Program 3 towards the management of the 2 state farms. So the next 2 slides is the shifts that we've done between programs. The total amount there is 38 million, and you will see a lot of detail in terms of the published book where all these fundings were shifted to or from and to. So this is just a summary of those many pages that I've tried to show you what the main shifts were. And I can say that the majority of the shiftings was from our savings in COE. We actually had a process whereby the Treasury allowed us to utilize our savings in COE towards cost pressures in the programs and across programs. And then with that undertaking, we had a balance on our rollovers and retention requests that they've allowed us to then put into 26-27's budget to assist with cost pressure. So you'll see a lot of our shifts were from COE to assist in goods and services and capital and so on. So just in summary, if I can quickly go through it, Program 1 shifted an amount of 3 million, mainly out of COE towards Program 4 to assist with pressures in diagnostic services and trade facilitation services, and as well as Program 5 to assist with their operational cost pressures on the farms. Program 2 shifted 7.9 million, mainly also from COE towards pressures in Program 5 of 1.1 million, mainly towards lab equipment, repairs and maintenance and replacements, and also towards Program 7, you'll see the biggest amount going there for operational costs, pressures at the college, which includes overtime, repairs and maintenance, training, groceries, there's a whole list. If we move to Program 3, you'll see about 17 million was shifted towards various programs. Of that 17 million, 9.5 went to Program 1, specifically assisting with operational support services relating to the maintenance of our office buildings, audit fees that is compulsory for us to pay, communication services that was required or that was under pressure, as well as some critical computer equipment. As you may know, we need to make sure that our equipment used by staff is compatible with Windows 11 in terms of support going forward, that we ensure we can continue receiving the required support from Microsoft. So we had to make money available to start replacing computer equipment of the staff. Then in terms of program 4, an allocation of 3 million went specifically to assist with the maintenance cost of our ECOS system, as well as lab services, consumables for testing and laboratory equipment. Program 5, a small amount went there for, again, laboratory equipment procurement. And then also quite a big amount, 4 million, to program 7. And this I can just mention, the budget for this amount was allocated initially to program 3 as part of the CASP allocation. This is CASP funding that was moved to program 7, who then assists with the implementation of the training leg of the CASP allocation. So we had to shift the money into program 7. If we move over program 4, you'll see a very small amount that was mainly a recovery, where they've made good costs that program 1 incurred on their behalf, and they just gave that back. If we go to program 5, 3 million, 3.6, that was mainly COE again, that was shifted to program 7 to assist with cost pressures, as mentioned before, at the college. If we move to program 6, 2.9 million, again, savings from COE mainly, and a very small amount on goods and services, mainly to assist program 5 with their pressures in terms of the farms and the laboratories. Program 7, again, a small amount that was also, again, a recovery where they utilize animal food and medicine supplies that's been procured by program 5, and they just shift that back in the adjustments budget. And program 8 then also released 2.7 million in savings on COE, mainly to program 5 in terms of various cost pressures in program 5. Chairperson, if we move to the shifts, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's a lot of detail, as you would have seen in the published document. This is about 128 million of movements within programs. It is significant. As you know, our budgets are fluid. You plan to the best of your abilities at the beginning of the year. However, things change as you move through your activities and your functions that you're doing. And this is then an opportunity for us to correct those line items where we might have put too much money in a line, or things didn't work out as planned, or our activities changed, and we then shift the money accordingly where there is a need in another area. So just again, in summary, in terms of the programs, you'll see program 1 made shifts of about 15 million. All of this is really to relieve cost pressure. You'll see the reason or the motivation is the same for all of them. As I've explained, it's literally now at line item level where we correct how we budgeted from the beginning of the year and how we projected then to the budget we require, taking us to the end of the financial year. So you'll see those are the main amounts. Program 2, 13.9, program 3, 51 million, again, was shifted internally. So to the different line items, specifically maybe just to mention on program 3, which is a significant amount, we had to shift CASP COE that replaces our PES equitable share COE. So that's just an internal shift that we have to make in terms of our CASP allocation that assists with some of our COE costs. We also had, as you know, hosted an extension symposium, and there was also realignment in terms of our project budgets related to CASP and ILIMA. So we just had to correct the various line items there. Program 4, 15.6 million, again, having to accommodate specific activities that we have to do towards the end of the year. Also that biosecurity tender that I spoke about earlier, that had to be provided for in the relevant line items. Including also various accreditations in terms, and also our lab equipment repairs. Program 5, 12.9 million, again, having to move some funds around where there's savings in certain line items towards those line items that's under pressure, specifically consumables, the equipment, and our farm related activities. Program 6, specifically also just across the program to alleviate some pressure. The details are available there in the book. And then Program 7, 11 million. Again, you'll see with the college, it's quite tricky. We normally use this opportunity to provide additional funding and then to also shift within the line items where we see there are some savings, and then move it towards the items that are under pressure. Program 8, similar. As you know, this program hosted the Prestige Agri Worker event in November. So this is also then an opportunity where we shift funding, if required, towards that event specifically, and across the program. This is just then, in summary, a slide that provides a snapshot of what the end result is. So you'll see across each program, the main budget is in the first column, the 1021 billion. And then the columns further to that just shows you per economic classification how the budget shifted. So you'll see we shifted away from COE 34 million, mainly into our goods and services, as mentioned, where there are specific operational pressures. As well as the transfers. Transfers are the 250 million is mainly the amount that was rolled over, that was approved by the National Treasury of 269 million. And then also the increase of 3 million towards the farms. And then capital assets, as mentioned, there's various equipment that needed to be procured in terms of our laboratories, in terms of the college, in terms of our own staff, computer equipment, and so forth. And then financial assets is a very small amount. This really relates to debt write-offs. So we had to provide for the actual expenditure we've incurred to date in terms of debt write-offs. So we've just put a budget next to that because we don't budget for these write-offs from the beginning of the year. So Chairperson, that is then our total adjusted budget per program that adds up to the 1.3 billion. And that also then brings us to the end of the presentation. Thank you, Chairperson.
The CFO, thank you very much. I did note Keith du Plessis, our CEO from Casidra, also noting that he is present. But I must also indicate for record purposes that I am Noko Masipa. I'm also present so that both of us are not marked absent by Sharin, our procedural officer. Minister, thank you very much. Do you want to make some remarks before I allow members to engage the vote?
Yes, Chair. You can't chair the meeting without being present, so that is obvious. But nevertheless, that is your administrative processes in the Parliament. I think what the CFO has just indicated, that there was a total amount that you have seen, about 282 million adjustment. But she did indicate that there were rollovers approved by National, about 273 million plus the 2.8 million. If you add that all up, then you will see that there is 11 million short. So actually, the adjusted estimates that is before this committee should actually be 11 million if you take down the rollovers from the national and the provincial. So that is what is before this committee. But thank you for this opportunity to present our adjustment estimates. I'm very happy and satisfied that excellent financial oversight has been conducted in this department by the various program managers, and I am happy to defend before this committee our adjusted estimates. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, there's the report, the vote. I just want to check the pages quickly. We are on vote 11 from page, give me a second. Honorable members, from page 273 to page 310. So that's the vote 11, Department of Agriculture. Before, I don't see any hands now, but Minister, I must say that we welcome this budget adjustment. Even more heartening is what I noticed, the sponsorship of the Agricultural Association and Agri-Prestige Workers. It is truly encouraging to see such active support for agricultural sector, particularly for those who often feel overlooked by society despite working in a vital industry that is not always highly remunerated, yet remains essential for food security and national economic growth. Minister, I want to sincerely thank you and your department for making provision to recognize and support these dedicated players in the field, while also creating opportunities for them to excel further. Farmers Union honorable members and associations play a critical role in this regard. Through their study groups, they evaluate cultivars, share innovative cultivation techniques, and advanced livestock breeding practices. In these forums, real innovation is born. This allocation means a great deal to the entire sector. And once again, Minister, thank you and thank you very much. I see two hands, Honorable Gondlo and Honorable Constable, in that order.
Thank you.
I
Thank you,
see also,
Chairperson.
Honorable Ngondo, I see also Honorable Brinkes in that order. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. You've already put all of us under your remarks, and as a collective, even if you didn't consult us, we remain led to really appreciate what our leader of opposition is to applaud a fish for swimming. But it remains our responsibility to do so. So, Minister and the team, I think I just want to raise a couple of issues. On page 287, I must say I see that, Minister, in as far as there is a reallocation of funds to the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum, which I'm assuming shows the contribution to the industry itself. And one would be interested, Minister, of what process of the different groupings and industries they need to follow in order for them to get a similar support, which is something that must be welcomed, because most of these sectors or groupings, they do contribute to a live agricultural sector. So I think that is commended. One just needs to understand how would any other grouping be able to apply, what criteria to use to then approve such support. I must say, with the rollovers that we did hear about them, even with the late budget approval, I think, including yesterday, would have understood that this becomes a reality. Now, the question I have for the department, Honorable Chairperson, is that given this money would have been delayed because of the budget, the main national budget, which was delayed, but the rollover would have been known because it was applied for already last year. And already when we were awaiting, we were told that there is a provision in law that says whilst a government is delayed in terms of approving national budget, departments are allowed to utilize, I think, almost a 30%, if I'm not mistaken, of what would have been in their budgets. So my question is now, with this money, which is coming into the record, have all the preparations of these particular projects been done? And I'm raising this chair in light of the fact that the money would have arrived later in terms of budget planning. So I'm interested to know, as it was raised, that this is a rollover funds of CASP, of those infrastructure projects that needed to be done. So I'm asking, as we sit here at this time, which physically means we are already, I think, going towards the third, we are in the third quarter of the financial year. Have all the preparations been done, you know, and the money is going to be utilized within this financial year, so that when we come back, you know, we are not told that no, because that money was late and so I'm trying to understand that, Chair. The second one, I must say, I'm very worried about this reprioritization of COE savings due to delays in many of the programs. And I've got one part of my question in regarding to that, Chair, is to understand that what exactly would have been the spend planned for this particular funds. What are the specific, and I'm looking for the specific sort of positions that were supposedly to have been filled, which to date we are told, for example, under sub-program 3.3 food security, page 278, the reprioritization of COE savings due to recruitment delays. I'm interested, this amount, what are the specific positions or vacancies that have not been filled in this food security, where this money now has been moved to do other things? And I'm asking specifically because it is said that this money now is going to fund procurement of security cameras and other things. I want to understand what are the specific vacancies and why were these vacancies not filled. But the second part is for maybe the CFO to help me understand, because for some time, Chair, we've always been told that money of COE cannot be utilized for anything. It is regulated. It must be sent back, you know, that fund. But I hear the department saying they got approval from the Provincial Treasury to utilize a COE and allocate it to the next financial year, and also to alleviate other cost pressures. And I'm seeing, for example, in many others where there's been an over spending in terms of goods and services, such monies has been moved to offset such. So I'm trying, CFO, maybe to explain, you know, whether there has been a new circular, a new provision in terms of treasury now, where there is a new provision to say you can utilize COE as it is indicated in this regard. So I'm just trying to understand those for now, Chair, just to get my sense of how this decision of readjustment were made. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Ngonzo. Honorable Constable, followed by Honorable Brinkes.
Chairperson, thank you very much, and thanks, CFO, for the presentation. Chair, I was totally covered by Amendment Conley, because my question also related to the reprioritization of COEs. And for that reason, I will not ask any question, but just to check whether that positions that needs to be filled, how will the department going forward to do that? Is that positions critical positions, and how will they deal with those delays? Chair, I will not ask any further questions because I believe Member Conley covered me on that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Constable. You have been very efficient. Honorable Brinkes, over to you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning again to all the colleagues. Thank you very much for the presentation. Chair, my question is just a general question on the 3 million that has been put aside for the 2 state farms, the one there in Oudtshoorn. And I just wanted to know that in terms of research, how much of that 3 million rand is going to be spent in researching new items to invest in in those farms. Because from the last time we met the department, we learned that they're not actually doing that well on those state farms. And I've recently seen in the media that China has bought millions of in value of sorghum wheat from South Africa. And I'm not so sure if that sorghum wheat is grown here in the Western Cape. But that looks like a very big market. And China used to previously buy their sorghum wheat from the US. And now because of the tariffs, they are buying it in billions of rands. They're buying it from South Africa. So is the Western Cape also one of those provinces that produces sorghum wheat? If that is the case, then could the department look in that direction to increase the growing of sorghum wheat, because it looks like for the foreseeable future in the years coming, China will only be buying more and more sorghum wheat from South Africa, and that can result in great economic conditions for us here in the Western Cape, as well as the country, the national country as a whole. So yes, my question to the department is how much money from that 3 million rand is going to go into research in new areas where that land, that two state farms land, can be used to grow new items or to increase the existing items that is being grown there in on those farms. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Brinkhuis. The department will probably not cover that question, but just from my side, I must indicate that the Western Cape is not really big in sorghum wheat. I know that inland in the Transvaal, they are big in sorghum wheat. We big with barley and so forth. Just regarding the Odzone farms, we have got a resolution to visit the farms. We have been invited by the CEO of Casidra to do a visit. We're planning to conduct an oversight visit, I think in March. We will communicate that in the near future. We just finalizing the logistic in that regard. So I thought, let me just answer on those two questions, but over to you, Minister and the CFO.
Thank you very much, Chair, and to the honourable members. I would first like to respond to Honourable Member Nkondlo. Yes, thank you very much for the comments. I'm very happy that you have noted the Fresh Produce Export Forum. You are familiar that we have one of my ministerial priorities is market access, and they are doing an outstanding job to promote the Western Cape fresh produce. You are also familiar that from the Southern Hemisphere, we are about responsible for 33% of the Southern Hemisphere soft fruit industry in terms of the exports, so that is massive. But globally, to look at the markets, to penetrate these various markets, especially as Honourable Member Nkondlo rightly pointed out, in terms of the trade war and the tariffs, we need to actively promote around the world the stuff that is being done through the Fresh Produce Export Forum. Obviously, we don't have the capacity to do that on our own, and they're doing outstanding work. But this specific question falls under Agricultural Economic Services. So Ms. Bongiswa will certainly answer that question, or her team. I think the question from Honourable Member Nkondlo is, firstly, she appreciates the work that is being done, and I want to thank her for that. But the fundamental question is, what criteria is being used so that other people could also apply for that? So they will respond to the criteria. There was also a question in terms of the CAS funding, the rollover And she mentioned that we are now in the third quarter. She wants to make sure that everything happens implemented thoroughly in the fourth quarter. So the CFO will, the acting HOD will take us through that. The acting HOD will also take us through the whole issue of the reprioritization, the COE, the specific positions. He specifically referred to a program 3.3 in terms of food security. She wants to know specific posts. And I think that is also amplified by Honourable Member Constable. Then also she wants to know about the COE utilization for the cost pressures, the overspending on goods and services in that particular regard. So the HOD will respond to that. To Honourable Member Brankhuis, you've indicated that you have a general question. The CEO of Casidra is here, but also the program manager is also here in terms of those two state farms. Just one correction, these farms are not in Oudtshoorn. I think you are familiar that these farms are between Calitzdorp and Ladysmith, but obviously it's in the Klein Karoo, so that is correct. I think the chair has already answered your question, Honourable Member Brankhuis, regarding the wheat and the sorghum wheat. The chair did respond to that. So I think important is the issues of, from these questions from both Honourable Member Constable and Honourable Member Nkonto, is the issue of the COE in the cost pressures and these overspending or underspending on certain things in terms of goods and services.
Minister, am I the only one who's not able to hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, sorry, I will speak closer to my device. So I'm going to hand over to the acting HOD, Lindy Governor, to respond to these questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. CFO.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to the members for the questions. In terms of the question on the FPEF, I will ask Ms. Matoti to answer at the end, if that's fine. I'll quickly address the other questions of members, specifically relating to the rollovers. Ms. Member Nkondlo asked whether all of these water users and irrigation boards have the planning been done for their projects. I can maybe just state that all the funding was transferred as soon as we got the approval in June. Then only after that approval was obtained from the National Treasury did we start transferring funding to these organizations. And that was done by, I think, August. Majority of those payments were made. So since then, all the organizations has commenced with their projects. We had a meeting where we had all of them in one room. It was last week, if I recall, with HOD present as well as senior managers. We actually had them all in a room to report back to us on the projects that they have received funding for. So I can say that all of them have commenced. They are all actively busy in those projects, and they've given us a specific indication of progress as well as the challenges that they currently experience and how they would mitigate those. There are some projects that we can see, as we know it is infrastructure related. So there are potentially some that might go beyond 31 March, but we will and have already made provision for how we will deal with that in the event that some of the projects are a bit longer or over the next or this financial year because of the fact that the funds were received later than planned. In terms of the utilization of the COE savings, I note the request for the detail on the specific posts, especially on the food security side, which we can provide to the member. Unfortunately, I don't have the details with me right now, but we can definitely share that detail. I think maybe just to start off by saying that initially when we did our budget for the 25-26 year, of course, we had a plan per post what we would be filling in the year as it was approved and concurred with by Premier. Those were all provided for in the budget. But because of delays in terms of recruitment processes, some unforeseen and out of our control, it obviously has resulted in posts not being full-timely. However, the budget was provided for under COE. So with the permission of the Provincial Treasury, and this is a process, the member is correct, we can't decide as a department and shift funds out of COE towards other economic classifications. You have to do that with an application process and written submissions to to the provincial treasury via the HOD, which was done, and they've given us that approval with detailed motivation why we need to use our savings and why did we incur savings in the first place. So that was all motivated and explained, and we then got approval to shift that money. So in saying that, all those positions are in progress. So even though we are shifting money out of COE in this year, the money is still secured for the next financial year. So as soon as those posts come online, there is still a budget for them. They are still critical. It's just that it's a timing issue for us. So they have allowed us then to make sure that we utilize the savings that we could use, but still provide sufficient funding for when the posts come online. So I can state that all of them are in progress and they are still critical and are being filled as we speak. Then in terms of the research farms, I think Member Brunke has asked a question on the 3 million that's going to the state farms. At this point in time, I would like to just state that this is additional funding that we needed to allocate to the farms because our initial allocations were perhaps not in line with what the ask was or the requirement was for the financial year. So we topped it up in the adjustments budget with that 3 million. I will also ask the CEO of Casidra to perhaps go into more detail in terms of the question on the research into the new items to invest in those farms. I will ask that he maybe comes in, but at this point it is to assist with the operational requirements of those farms for this financial year. Chairperson, I hope I've covered all the questions on that, but I will hand over now to Ms. Matoti to maybe just add on to what Minister has said in terms of that support given for market access, and then after her to Dr. Keith, I almost said Klute, to the CEO of Casidra. Thank you.
Thank you, CFO. Yeah, I'll ask that if we can just be precise to the point, because we don't have much time as well. Thank you. Over to you, Member Matoti.
Thank you, AGD, and thank you, Chairperson and the member Nkondlo for the question. Minister actually has already laid the foundation on FPF, that it is actually the marketing arm of the fruit industry. Therefore, the money that was actually given to them, was through a transfer payment, really to support the market development activities in international markets. And they did not apply, Chair, but through the collaborative work that we are doing, together. And, as there are actually synergies, then they were actually, given that money to support the industry. So, yeah, that the organizations, in fact, they do not apply for this kind of, but where there are synergies, then there are such kind of collaborations, and then money actually can, if actually available, can be actually made available to those industries through transfer payments, but there is no application process. However, for individual companies, when we do promotional work, then they can apply to the department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Over to you, CEO of Casidra.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Member Brunke, for the question. At this stage, obviously, the 3 million we are desperately requiring for operational matters at the farms. Obviously, we are waiting for that funds to make sure that we keep the farms operational. At this stage, we already have about 15 hectares under sorghum. So sorghum can be grown at that farms. It can be produced. Our plan was to do about 40 to 50 hectares, but because of water constraints, this particular now, I think the dam is fairly empty. We obviously have to cut back. So we are currently doing about 15 hectares, but mostly for grazing purposes. So we take note of the fact that there is potential market, and if there's a market, obviously, then we can obviously expand on the production of this particular commodity, because it can actually be grown specifically at Malinstein. I hope that answers the question, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. Honorable members, one last round of questions or follow-up, if there are members who have got burning questions. Over to you. I see no hands. Oh, Honorable Ngondlo, over to you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Chair, and thank you for the responses. The only follow up, Chair, is around the matter of COE, because what I'm not clear of in the response is that the positions are still on the line and they are critical and they will still be funded. I think related to the question we asked, what I want to understand is that if they are still going to be funded, given the fact that their monies would have been used for something else, does it mean that new money now will be requested for the positions, for the same positions which were already budgeted for, and its monies shifted to something else? So that is what I'm trying to understand, because I hear that the positions will be kept, but the money that was allocated as a budget will be moved to something else, but the positions are still online. So it means new money now will be requested in the next financial year. Am I understanding that correctly, Chair? And then I would love for the department, and I'm happy that they would send the list for the food security. And I would love for the department, if they can, Chair, also share this list of the projects of CASP. Fortunately, I think the CFO explained that they've already even met with those beneficiaries of the project. If we can get the list of those beneficiaries and the projects and that status, and I'm actually okay with the fact that the department has anticipated where some may go over the line in terms of the financial year. And I'm asking that in that report, we get to be told, because this helps, with the end of the year and what will be the record and how the annual report would look. Because now we're not going to be shocked if it is said we could not achieve here and we're back and forth trying to explain to each other. So if they could also share that with us. Now, the issue, Chair, with the money for veterinary services, we would recall that during the last financial year, that the veterinary services program could not achieve because some of the capacity challenges, to a point of even having to ask for private or consultants to assist. So I'm seeing that also in terms of the shifts, that there is money to be provided to the veterinary services. And I just want to understand that, does it mean this money also assists to bolster that capacity so that the imminent challenges, of biosecurity that, is mounting in our province and in the agri, at least would be managed? So I'm trying to understand that. And I want to ask the minister, because one of the things I am not seeing, Minister, in the adjustment, and it was also not in the budget, is how your department is dealing with informality within the agri sector. We know across the province, across municipalities, there is a number of informal farmers who do not have spaces, to keep their livestock, and some of them are become the first culprits or victims at most of the foot and mouth disease when it comes to their livestock, and sometimes there's a challenge for municipalities to move with speed to provide requisite spaces or land, also working with National Land Department. So I'm interested, and I'm asking you, Minister, can you please consider the issue of informal farmers in the province, across the municipalities, for your department to really start bringing and seeing how you could work with both local government or municipalities, with national government around services, for these farmers whom are informal, and their reason for informality is not because people want to break the law. It's because of livelihoods and also our history of an exclusionary system. So I want to put this up to you to request that, can you please, with your department, find a way, even if you can look at it in this budget adjustment or in the next budgeting cycle and in the next annual plan for your department. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Ngondlo. Honorable members, we are now running out of time. So quickly, Minister, with regards to the challenges of COE, which I think is a challenge across the board, I really made a proposal during the budget sitting that, you know, maybe the capacity of the red tape can be used to identify and propose more efficient processes of making these appointments, you know, thereby minimizing the delays and bureaucratic hurdles in the future. I know that, you know, you are not the custodian of this. This is the, you know, in the Public Service Commission, but I think maybe that's one area that maybe red tape unit lay in your hands. Maybe you can really look at that. But over to you, Minister, if really answers can be short and to the point so that we can move to the next phase of this process. Thank you. Over to you.
Firstly, thank you, Honourable Chair, and thank you to the Honourable members for these questions. I think the CEO of Casidra has adequately answered the question from Honourable Member Brunkes regarding the 3 million rand, whether that is for research. He has clearly answered the questions correctly. We have, as Honourable Member Brunkes know, we have 7 research farms, and that exclude those 2 farms that he has referred to. The 7 research farms, as you all know, is firstly Elsenburg, which does plant science research, animal research, climate science research, and soil sciences. So that is primarily what is Elsenburg used for. Also, Oudtshoorn, we have the only ostrich research farm in the world. And that is very important to note. And that is a very important research farm. And I think the committee has been there. Then there's a third research farm in this department, which is called Nortier, which is there in Lamberts Bay, and they do crop science and research. Then we also have another research farm, well managed also, Langgewens, which is outside in Malmesbury. They do also crop science and grain and all of that. Then there's another research farm that I think the committee has visited. It's called Outeniqua Research Farm. It's primarily dairy research that happens in George. And then we also have, I think this committee knows, that we have a veld reserve, which is also just outside Worcester. And the 7th research farm is called Tygerhoek, which is near Riviersonne. And I hope that this committee can also visit all these research farms. Well, I think the issue of the informality is something that I've been confronted with on a daily basis. I regularly get requests also from municipalities and councillors and people regarding the roaming animals. And I think what I would like to do in the new year, engage with the municipalities, because as all of you know, the issue of that is a skip in Engels, that is the primarily function of municipalities. Municipalities might primarily look at their bylaws and implement the bylaws, and this poses a huge risk, as Honourable Member Kondlo mentioned, in terms of foot and mouth disease. That's a big risk, but I take a question that this is something that we need to further take up in the new year. But currently, our veterinary services is inundated with visits and requests for our state vets to visit these informal, because I cannot say it is informal. We cannot go there if there's a risk in terms of animal safety and meat safety. We have to support them, and all our extension and advisory services, all our officers, they primarily work actively also in these areas to give some advice. But I think in terms of the tone of Honourable Member Nkondlo, I think this is something that we need to take up also with the national government, because I think it's becoming more and more a problem, and we need to resolve that particular problem, because I sometimes receive emails that the animals are walking in and around the shopping centers, posing a risk on the highways, on the N2, specifically there in George, and it poses a risk for the road. So I'm also in discussion with Honourable Minister Isaac Seleko in terms of the traffic and the road. So this is a matter that I think we need to take stock of, need to take manage, but the municipality must not abdicate their primary responsibility of looking at roaming animals. This is a bylaw matter, but we certainly need to support them, but they cannot duck and dive their responsibility. They want me to fund it. I don't have the money. They want to take me to take full responsibility of that, and I don't want to do that. But I think we need a partnership and collaboration and jointly deal with this issue because it poses a risk. And we now see globally, one major risk is zoonotic disease. These diseases from poultry into livestock animals into people. And I think because it poses a serious risk to the life of people, and that's why we have adopted a One Health strategy in the Western Cape. And I think this is a matter that I want to thank the committee for raising this matter because it is a matter of great concern, not only here, but in the whole country. So I want to thank the Honourable Member Nkontlo for bringing this. I would like to see that and I'm going to put it perhaps, I'm going to ask Lindy, the acting HOD, that when we have a next MINMEC, that we put this item on the agenda for the national minister and all the other MECs, because I think they've got similar problems, that we deal with this problem at a national level and also at the provincial and municipal level. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I think we are now going to move to the next part of this program in terms of the vote that is before us. But before we do that, I am going to really ask the Minister to make closing remarks and the acting HOD. And then really, once again, thank you, Minister, for availing yourself and for presenting or tabling this vote before this committee. Minister, over to you just to make closing remarks, and then we can proceed with our deliberation on the vote.
Thank you very much to members of the committee. As you can see, this was a very a difficult year, but also a year of great joy and great situations. You would have noted that on the 20th of January this year, a new president came to the White House, and since then we had to look aggressively for new markets, and that's why I want to thank one of my staff members, Ms. Matoti, for the great and excellent work that she is doing in terms of looking for global markets and looking specifically on the African continent, the Middle East, and also working very closely with Westgrow. We will have to more aggressively look into that, and we have seen that last year in 2024, South Africa has reached new levels of exports, namely 13.7 billion US dollars, and we are very much significantly part of that. But as I often say, I don't want the Western Cape to succeed. I want South Africa to succeed. And so our mission is to promote South African exports. And I'm particularly happy that we can work collectively with all the other provinces. And that's why we work with Fruit South Africa. It's not about the fruit in the Western Cape. It's about Fruit South Africa. Wardgrow for South Africa. Sati, South African table grape, South Africa. So we put South Africa first in my attempt because we are now seeing the world is moving towards protectionism, and protectionism is the enemy of the free market economy. And I stand for the free market economy, but I want to thank my staff and the CFO in particular, who's also the acting HOD and also program managers for really doing an outstanding job. For this year, and I want to thank also the Chief Director of Rural Development, Jackie Pandaram, because for the first time we have now reached almost R1 million in donations for the program that deals with agri workers. So I want to thank her for that. And we have also lost some senior staff members in the year. And you would also see that we had to pay out in the Blue Book an amount for a person who has kept some leave. But that period is now over. We lost, and we need the questions that both Honourable Member Constable and Honourable Member Nkontlo raised is very important because we have lost a number of senior managers, and I think it is important that we fill those critical vacancies. Food security is one of my ministerial priorities, and that's why the program 3.3, the question that Honourable Member Nkontlo asked, is very relevant because it is a ministerial priority. We need to then zoom into why were those posts not filled and what is the implications for the minister's ministerial priorities in terms of that program. So overall, I want to thank the department. They've done an outstanding job. In his absence, I want to thank Dr. Sebopetse. We are wishing him very well in terms of his operation. He's an outstanding accounting officer, and we have an outstanding CFO and outstanding program managers, and they're all lined. Thank you very much, Chair.
Minister, thank you very much. Your department also, thank you very much. If we don't see each other again, I'm talking now to the officials. You have a blessed Christmas and be safe on the road. Thank you very much, Minister. We see each other again on Monday with regards to program 12. And the members of the public that really joined us, thank you very much. You are also excused. Thank you. And then, honorable members, we're going to proceed in terms of the deliberating this, finalizing the vote of agriculture.
Thank you, Chair.
Minister, you wanted to say something? Okay. Honorable members, the report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture and Tourism on vote 11 is before us. So with that, I am going to request in terms of any vote against or not in support of the vote to raise their hands. If no hands, then I'll assume that the whole committee support the vote. Okay, in terms of the hands that I see here is Honorable Ngondlo. Is that your hands up, Honorable Brengase? You put it up and you put it down. Is it for not support or for supporting?
Chair, thank you very much. My hand is up for not supporting.
Okay. You are welcome to also express your minority view. Honorable Ngonto and Honorable Brengase, those are the two hands that I see now. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair. The Chair, as per the issues that we have raised, I think around the movement of the compensation of employees, which we are not convinced if that is a prudent decision. Secondly, Chair, is around, I think once again, was accepting, and we shall be following the Minister around the realities of the informal sector within the space that has ever been operating. And he's correct, it's a local matter, but the Animal Health Act is the custodians thereof in terms of implementation is the province. So collaboration on these things becomes important, because then the citizens and the economy, especially those that are operating in the informal economy, gets to be, falling through the cracks. So as the ANC, we do not support the vote and therefore use our Rule 90 to register such. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Ngondo. I see your hand is up again, or were you lowering it? Do I have a view in terms of support? Hands for support, I support, obviously. My hand is up. Honorable members, in support of the vote? I see hands. Honorable Van Wyk.
Sorry, Chair, I'm not a voting delegate.
Oh, you're not a voting delegate. Okay. Shireen, have you noted the hands?
Myself, I have, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you. So,
sorry, the majority of the members, yes.
Sorry, Chairperson, it's Member Bryant. I assume you are also raising your hand, Chairperson?
Yes, my hand was up. What happened? I lowered it, but it was up. Definitely. Thank you.
Can I go ahead and flag the report, Chair, for you to read into
Yes, you're welcome.
record?
Please go ahead. Let me just make sure that I'm able to see. Okay, honorable members, I'm going to read the report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism on vote 11, Agriculture, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill B5 2025, dated 5 December 2025, reads as follows. The Standing Committee on Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism having considered the subject of Vote 11, Agriculture in the Schedule to the Western Cape Adjustment Appropriation Bill B5 2025, referred to in it in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress and Al Jamaa expressed their minority view to not support the vote. I thank you. Honorable members, we still have got about 5 minutes. I noted that there was one resolution that we will get the report around the food security. I know that we did receive previously. I would ask Shireen to just check if that report is still valid and maybe just to recheck with the department if they can update that food security report. That's one resolution. Are there any other resolutions? Honorable Ngondlo.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say on the specific one on food security, the resolution is mainly about the vacancies that could not be filled. So whilst I accept the previous, which I'm sure was just about where the food security projects are, Shireen can still share those, but that is specific to that. Secondly, is the resolution asking for the information that was explained of the CASP beneficiaries that was said that they've already been met, the projects have started, but there is a likelihood that some can go beyond the financial year. So if we can get that information of the list of the beneficiaries, those projects, and which ones which are on course and which ones that may go beyond the financial year, and what plans does the department has to help with those specific projects. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable members, we left with 3 minutes. Quickly, can we go through the minutes? Shireen, are they going to be quick?
We can go through it, Chair, but just correction, the meeting is scheduled until 11:15.
Oh, 11:50. I thought it's scheduled
yes,
till 11 o'clock. Okay, so we have got time. Yeah, I think let's flight the minutes quickly, and then we can give members enough time to also, just stretch the legs a little bit. Okay, you want to just go up a bit. This is the minutes of the 11th of November, 2025. It was held hybrid via Microsoft Teams, and we were in committee room 2. Okay, you can proceed to go on. Okay, honorable members present there. Let's go down. Can we just go to the resolutions maybe? That will be quicker. Okay, so honorable members, I'm bringing this resolutions because I think we made a resolution and with regards to food security. So after my discussions with before we proceed, I see the hand of Honorable Ngondlo. Did you not? Is there? Honorable Mbombo, sorry, I see your hand.
Not me, not me.
Sorry, Honorable Mbombo, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. No, I was supporting, proposing the minutes.
Okay, okay. So let's go down. Okay. All right, thank you. We have got the proposer to support the minutes. It's the seconder. Seconder? Do I have seconder? Okay, I see seconder, Honorable Vessel and Honorable Ngondlo. You both seconding? Okay. Matters arising from the minutes? Okay. I see Honorable Ngondlo.
Chair, can one assume that these resolutions are still being processed in terms of the program of the committee, in terms of when the dates of the follow-ups, including the visit to a Million Stain farm? Should one make that assumption?
Yes.
Maybe same of next year.
Yeah, so what we have worked a little bit in terms of these resolutions. We have made some timelines. Every resolution that members have taken during these committee meetings, it has been really discussed extensively, myself and Sharon, in terms of how we're going to slot them. We are trying our level best to slot them. So regarding the ozone, Amalienstein and the other farm, we plan to go there in March, if I'm correct. Maybe, Sharon, do you mind just sharing the details as to how far are we?
Certainly, Chairperson. Members, the tentative date that has been set aside is the 3rd and 4th of March. But as you know, it will take us out of the office for about 2 days, and that does have an impact on other committees. And in this case, specifically Member Bryant and Member Vessel's committees. So the Chair and I are engaging the members to see how we can work around it. But I'm sure, God willing, by next year, at the end of January, we will have a draft program available. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I think let's go to the next set of minutes, so that we can finish on time. Okay, the 12th November, which was also hybrid. We were on the 6th floor in the chamber. I think let's just go to the resolutions.
Chair, there were no resolutions in this for this committee meeting.
Okay. So, honorable members, this was the meeting of the tourism to look at the tourism readiness that we received from briefing from various stakeholders. So can I have a proposal that we adopt the minutes? I see Honorable Vessel and Honorable Ngondo. Thank you. In that order.
Chair, I'm not proposing. I want to raise something about this meeting.
Yeah.
Yes, Chair. Chair, I want to register my disappointment in that meeting. One, on the fact that Alderman J.P. Smith would have used language that I think if it was Member Bryant, I'm not sure whether it was him or somebody else, felt it is appropriate, because when we are in the House, it is said it is allowed. I don't think we should allow, especially visitors, because my understanding of privileges, those privileges are only to members of Parliament. So Alderman J.P. Smith is not a member of the WCPP. So he can't be allowed to use such word as nonsense in our meeting when we're asking questions. So that for me was unacceptable. Secondly, Chair, is the issue of having by this committee a common understanding of the issues of local government, which you raised, and I think there was a difference of opinion around whether the Committee of Parliament can request a local government, a sphere, whether local or national, to come and appear, into the committee on matters that are related, or on matters that we are in a way working together on, like this tourism safety. And I say this, Chairperson, because one, the basic things that all of us sign an oath on, which is the Constitution, forces all of us to work in a cooperative manner. So when we choose to be narrow in interpretation of our responsibility, to provide a proper governance to citizens, we must remember what we sign as an oath, as a constitution that compels all of us to work together. Whether there is clarity in terms of whose mandate is this for. But the Constitution was aware a long time ago that we need a South Africa that is working. That is why cooperative governance, including intergovernmental relations, as a provision is made in the Constitution. So I just wanted to raise that matter because I see it, becoming a problem depending where you sit, because at some point, it is allowed, and at some point in this very House and through the committees, you see a differentiation on how this particular relationship is supposed to work. Thank you so much.
Noted, Honorable Ngontlo. Can we just finalize the minutes first, and then we can maybe I can just respond on that. I had a proposer, a seconder.
I second, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Ngontlo, I think all matters that you've raised have been noted. With regards to obviously the second one, yeah, there is obviously something that I am advised, but maybe let me just explain it. The way I understand is that obviously as local government and as provincial government and national government, we have got public representatives that are holding the executive to account. So spheres of local government obviously it does that and has got a mechanism of holding those executives to account. And the understanding is that the mayor of the city of Cape Town, they have obviously asked an opinion, or I can't remember if it's an opinion in this regard, and it was ruled in their favor that yes, they have got the mechanism within the city of Cape Town to be held accountable. So that's, I think I'm talking now to the issue of maybe double standard as such, but I'm making that point because I don't think the interpretation is that, you know, we just apply to where we deem it is necessary. But yes, we can invite them to come and share with us some of the issues that we believe are necessary. I see Honorable Brandt send this up.
Thanks, Chair. Just as a way forward, I mean, can I propose that we, maybe yourself as chairperson, write to the speaker and just get clarification in terms of that specific protocol for our next meeting next year. And then we can just, you know, have that in writing in terms of, you know, the powers of a provincial portfolio committee, standing committee to summons as opposed to invite. Because I think that's, you know, that's the question. You know, we don't have, as I understand, those powers to summons members of other spheres, but we may have the power to invite those members and to pose questions to them, etc. But I think it's worthwhile just getting that in writing so that we're all on the same page. Just very quickly, Chair, I might have missed it. I don't recall what the issue was with Alderman Smith participating in the meeting. I just, maybe if through you, Member Nkundla, can just clarify what the issue was. I don't recall there being any problems in that meeting. But if she can just raise that again, I didn't quite get it.
Honorable Ngontlo, or can I go ahead?
No, Chair, I wanted to support the proposition made by Member Bryant regarding requesting that from the speaker and allowing us to have the conversation once we come back, because I know that the matter has been ventilated both in the House and at some point Minister Bredel had even asked for a legal opinion. So indeed, I would be very interested for that if it is a protocol, you know, to be brought so that we are on the same page, which is what I was raising from the onset. So I want to support the proposal that he is making. And secondly, I think Chair, on the matter of Alderman, those who were in the meeting, I think I indicated that he used the word nonsense, and he was referring because he said it is nonsense for people to be raising the issue of the city of Cape Town and the matters there, whilst in the work that they're doing with the LEAP officers, and it was his political statement that he was making there. And with the question, because I was asking the question around the issue of extortions that is happening in the townships where there are tourism businesses. So he chose to take that particular approach. So that's the matter that I'm raising, which I felt offended by somebody who is a visitor to use such a language in a meeting. Thank you.
And obviously I ruled and I sustained the words being used because I haven't really seen being ruled unparliamentary. But I think the point that Honorable Ngontlo is raising is that yes, for members of parliament it might not be unparliamentary, but for visitors here, I note that Honorable Brian, are you fine?
Yes, thanks, Chair. I understand where Member Nkuna is coming from now, and I do recall that incident. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Honorable members, I thought we will finish before the 5 minutes, but we seem to be having now the last 5 minutes, the last minutes of the 18th November 2025, which was also visual, actually not hybrid. We had the Department of Labor and the Department, not, was it QLF? Yeah, was it States SA, not Department of Labor, but they were sharing with us the labor force survey. Okay, let's go to the resolutions. Honorable members, do we have a proposal to adopt the minutes? Going once, going twice. Honorable Ngondlo, are you proposing?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Constable, are you seconding?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, this brings us to the end of our meeting, and really thank you very much for your contribution, and to the staff, the IT staff. Thank you very much, Shireen. Really to you, thank you very much. Thank you, honorable members, for your really engagement and robust questions to the department. I look forward to seeing you at the next meeting, those that are in the same committee meeting with Honorable Brand. Honorable Brand, I'm passing the rugby ball over to you now.
Thanks, Chair.
Thank
See
you,
you in a bit.
colleagues. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Lovely day further.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Chair, members.